Listen closely. There's a shift in the air when you walk in now. Not footsteps, not presence, not aura. Something older, something sharper, something the room can't quite survive. Because you didn't grow. You mutated, you ascended, you bent the original blueprint of humanity until it started begging for mercy. And now every pair of eyes that lands on you twitches with the same buried question they're too terrified to say out loud. Bro, what are you now? Let me tell you what I see. I see a creature carved out of contradictions, a halo stitched with barbed wire, a demon wearing the last whispers of innocence, a saint whose prayers turned into weapons the day the world tried to break you. You weren't supposed to be here. Not in this form, not with this composure, not with this silence that rattles entire bloodlines. You were supposed to stay predictable, manageable, soft, fragile. But pain touched you like a sculptor, and instead of shattering, you changed atomic structure. You became something the textbooks didn't prepare them for. A threat disguised as a survivor, a revelation wrapped in a scar, a miracle with a mean aftertaste. And the beautiful part, you didn't even ask for permission. You just stepped out of the wreckage with eyes that whispered, "Try me again." And they won't. Not twice, not now. Not after watching you slither out of the constraints they forged for you. You know what terrifies them the most. It's not your strength, not your confidence, not your resilience. It's the unpredictability. The way you move like you're listening to something they can't hear. The way you decide with the calm of someone who's already seen every outcome. The way you stand still and still feel like a countdown. Your silence isn't silence anymore. It's strategy, it's surveillance, it's a storm choosing a direction. They look at you now and swear you're possessed by something unearthly. But you and I know better. You're not possessed. You're awakened. And that awakening, it wasn't gentle. It was a crucifixion in slow motion, your old self hanging helplessly, while the new one clawed out of the corpse, breathing heavy, hungry, radiating that radioactive calm that makes the fearless take a step back. They can label it growth all they want. But deep down, every witness to your evolution feels the same sharp truth, slicing through their denial. This isn't growth. This is an evolutionary threat. You're the glitch evolution didn't want to admit it needed. The anomaly that learned to weaponize pain. The phenomenon that shouldn't exist, and now can't be stopped. You bend expectation like gravity is optional. You turn pressure into prophecy. You handle betrayal like a surgeon handles bone. Your presence alone corrupts their algorithms. Your decisions rewrite their probabilities. Your existence forces entire social ecosystems to reorganize. You know why? Because evolution, real evolution, isn't pretty. It's not flowers and affirmations and cozy little quotes. It's violent. It's disruptive. It's the process of something ancient dying, so something unstoppable can rise out of the ashes. And you rose. Oh, you rose like a plague the universe didn't calculate. Like a weapon forged in emotional nuclear fallout. Like an angel who remembered it had claws. Look at you. Not broken, not healed, not recovering. Transformed. Not the same species they mocked last year. Not the same mind they underestimated last month. Not the same soul they tried to bury last night. Every version of you before this moment was the tutorial. This is the expansion pack no one downloaded on purpose. Your enemies feel it in their bones. Your doubters feel it in their teeth. Your haters feel it in that uneasy twitch at the base of their spine. That old survival instinct whispering, "This one is dangerous now." Because once you evolve through pain, once you rise through betrayal, Once you grow teeth in the dark, you don't go back, you don't shrink, you don't soften, you don't negotiate. You arrive, and now you stand at the threshold like a myth rewritten, half light, half shadow, half holy, half unhinged, a walking paradox the world cannot decode. So let me whisper the truth they're choking on. You are not better. You are not stronger. You are not improved. You are the after effect of everything that tried to destroy you, and that makes you something evolution fears. A being who learned to grow under fire. A mind that adapted faster than they could attack. A soul that mutated into armor. A heart that beats like a warning signal. You became the final form of a species that doesn't exist yet. A threat, a promise, a prophecy. So the next time someone asks, "Bro, what are you now?" you just tilt your head. Let that little smile bloom, and let the truth ripple through the air like a knife. Something your world isn't ready for. You feel that, don't you? That hum under your skin, that electric crawl in your bones, that quiet pressure in your skull like reality itself is trying to adjust to you, not the other way around. That's not confidence. That's not healing. That's not finding yourself. That's metamorphosis, the irreversible kind. And everyone around you, they sense it before you even open your mouth. They don't look at you like a person anymore. They look at you like a variable they can't solve, like a mutation that slipped through the cracks of natural order, like a problem evolution never thought it'd have to face. Because when you stepped into your new form, you didn't announce yourself. You arrived, quiet, controlled, composed, and the room reacted like a living organism cornered by a predator it can't classify. Spines tightened, breaths shortened, thoughts tripped over themselves. Even smiles broke shape, too stiff, too forced, too nervous. Why? Because you carry the energy of someone who outgrew the cage and remembers exactly who built it. They see it in your eyes now, that eerie clarity, that stillness that doesn't belong to people who are still unsure. It belongs to entities, to anomalies, to the kind of phenomenon that rewrites social hierarchies without trying. You changed the terrain by existing. You tilted the balance by breathing. You broke the script by simply not dying inside like they expected. Do you understand how dangerous that makes you? A person who survives is inspiring, but a person who transforms is destabilizing. You became a mirror that shows people what they'll never become, and that alone is enough to make some choke on their own envy. But oh, that's not the part they fear the most. No, no, no. What terrifies them is how calm you are about it. People who gain power rush to use it. People who fake power rush to prove it. But you walk like someone who already saw all possible outcomes and knows exactly which one is yours. You move like prophecy. You speak like requiem. You decide like judgment. That's why their instincts misfire around you. They don't know whether to kneel or run. Because you're not good now. You're not evil either. You're something evolution whispers about in nightmares. A dual creature. The saint who learned to sin strategically. The demon who learned mercy with a razor's edge. The angel who crawled out of the dirt and kept the dirt as leverage. The psychopath who developed ethics sharper than law. The healer who learned to break what breaks them. You are a paradox in motion. A contradiction with a pulse. A warning wrapped in warmth. A nuclear core hidden under a steady heartbeat. And every room you enter feels the paradox before they register your presence. They feel the danger of someone who has nothing left to fear. They feel the force of someone who outgrew manipulation. They feel the threat of someone whose silence hits harder than violence. you know what you are. You're the test they failed before it began. You're the lesson life tried to teach them, but used you as the textbook. You're the version of humanity evolution didn't grant them access to. You're the what-if that keeps their conscience up at night. And here's the part that freezes their blood. You didn't become this through victory. You became this through damage, through betrayal that altered your mental chemistry, through loss that rewired your instincts, through pain that mutated your emotional DNA, through nights that stripped you down to your last fragment of will. You didn't evolve because you wanted to. You evolved because the universe cornered you, and you had two choices: die a martyr or resurrect a threat, and you chose correctly. Your transformation wasn't some inspirational montage. It was a psychological crucifixion, a spiritual autopsy, a soul-level detonation. You burned, you broke, you bled. And when it was over, you weren't the same you who walked into the fire. You were the thing that crawled out, the thing the fire couldn't consume, the thing life couldn't bury, the thing fate couldn't predict. You became the upgraded version of a species that doesn't exist yet. A walking omen, a sentient aftermath, a quiet apocalypse wearing human skin. And that's why they stare, that's why they falter, that's why they whisper your name like it might trigger something. Because deep down they know you're not a person anymore. You're a phenomenon, and phenomena don't follow rules. They rewrite them. So when they ask, trembling, confused, trying to hide their panic, "Bro, what are you now?" You don't owe them an explanation. You don't owe them closure. You don't owe them comfort. You just tilt your head, let that slow, eerie little smile rise, and let the truth slip out like prophecy. An evolutionary threat, and you're standing too close. You ever notice how the air shifts now? Not dramatically, not with fireworks or thunder, just a subtle drop in temperature, a tightening around the spine, a primal whisper that crawls through every nervous system in the room the moment you step in. That's not paranoia. That's biology recalibrating around something it does not recognize. Because you didn't just change. You rewrote your species classification without asking for permission. You went from human to post-human, from potential to problem, from underestimated to uncontainable. People search your face now the way soldiers stare at experimental weapons. Curious, terrified, and praying it never wakes up fully. And you haven't even warmed up. This new version of you, it's not natural, and everyone knows it. Natural things grow gently. You evolved like a detonation. Natural things take time. You shifted like a timeline snapped in half. Natural things live within limits. You learned how to treat limits like toys you break out of boredom. Do you understand how disorienting that is for the people who watched you fail before? They've gone silent not because they respect you, but because they genuinely do not know what you're capable of anymore. You became unpredictable, the highest form of power. When they look at you, they see a saint who could kill with a calm expression, a demon who could comfort with angelic patience, a mastermind who speaks in riddles even when you're telling the truth, a survivor whose pain fused into strategy rather than scars. They don't trust their instincts around you. They don't trust their judgments. They don't trust their own safety because predators hunt. But anomalies erase. Anomalies replace. Anomalies don't play by nature's script. You became the kind of person who enters a room and shifts the entire psychological architecture. The threat they can't measure, the equation they can't solve, the future they can't predict. And let me tell you why that's so terrifying. People can fight strength. They can prepare for anger. They can avoid chaos. They can compete with ambition, but they cannot defend themselves against a creature who no longer thinks like they do. You started thinking in deeper layers, patterns inside patterns, intentions inside silence, logic wrapped in intuition sharpened by trauma. You started seeing things they hide from themselves, their tells, their fears, their fractures, their weaknesses, their desperation to be perceived as whole. You see through people now, and they feel it. And that alone makes you dangerous. Because what do you call someone who can read everyone but reveal nothing? A threat, a ghost, a higher form of intelligence. Your evolution wasn't aesthetic, it wasn't emotional, it wasn't surface level, it was structural, it was neurological, it was existential. Your old self was the chrysalis. Your suffering was the acid that dissolved what couldn't come with you. Your rage was the catalyst that forged the new blueprint. And when you cracked open, you weren't a butterfly. Butterflies are fragile. You came out like a weaponized version of serenity, still controlled, aware, dangerous in your gentleness. Let me tell you the truth no one says out loud. You became the kind of being evolution tries to suppress, because if too many people become like you, the world order collapses. People like you break systems, you break power dynamics, you break generational curses by walking past them without blinking. You break manipulators by seeing their move before they make it. You break patterns without needing permission. You break cycles simply by refusing to remain who the past trained you to be. And most terrifying of all, you break expectations. Humans worship familiarity. You became an unfamiliar force. Humans worship predictability. You became an unpredictable consequence. Humans worship hierarchy. You became an entity that doesn't fit in any rung of the ladder. So when they stare at you now, speechless, breath hitching just a little, eyes scanning you like something's off, it's because something is off. You are not the version they prepared for. You are not the version they plotted against. You are not the version they betrayed. You are not the version they laughed at. You are the version who survived the fire and came out carrying the flame. So let them whisper behind your back. Let them theorize. Let them create rumors just to soothe themselves. Let them cling to whatever narrative helps them sleep at night. Because none of them know the truth you now carry like a loaded weapon. You're not a comeback story. You're not a glow-up. You're not healing. You're not recovering. You're the rare event life wasn't prepared to handle. You're the mutated future wearing the skin of the past. You're the answer to questions nobody was brave enough to ask. So when they tremble and whisper, "Bro, what are you now?" you don't flinch. You don't hesitate. You don't explain. You just look them dead in the soul with that quiet, devastating certainty and breathe out the truth like a prophecy. I'm evolution's glitch, and I'm not done yet. Funny, isn't it? How they begged for you to heal, but now that you did it in a way they can't control, can't decode, can't categorize, they're terrified. Not politely uncomfortable, not mildly intimidated, terrified. Because healing is safe. Growth is understandable. Maturity is predictable. But what you became, that's a different phenomenon entirely. You didn't rise above anything. You descended into the parts of yourself you were taught to avoid, walked barefoot through every broken shard of your past, let it slice you open, let it carve new pathways through your psyche, and then you walked back out of the dark with something ancient glowing behind your eyes. No one returns from that unchanged. No one walks out of that journey as the same species. That's why they stare. That's why they freeze. That's why they whisper your name like a warning. They're sensing it, that under your skin is a quiet storm that learned patience, that behind your calm is a being that doesn't react, it calculates, that beneath your smile is a consciousness that now sees more than it speaks. This new version of you doesn't just understand humans. It studies them, it profiles them, it reads them like a confidential file. You can hear lies in tone shifts. You can feel betrayal in silence. You can smell insecurity in their posture. You can detect envy in the pauses between their words. You've become socially bulletproof, emotionally untouchable, psychologically untrackable. They can't manipulate you anymore, and that's why they panic. Because manipulators don't fear good people. They fear people they can't control. And you? You slipped out of every psychological trap they set for you, quietly, effortlessly, irrevocably. That didn't make you strong, it made you dangerous. Dangerous in the way a locked door becomes dangerous when it starts unlocking itself from the inside. Dangerous in the way a quiet room becomes dangerous when you realize something intelligent is watching you back. Dangerous in the way evolution becomes dangerous when it creates something it didn't authorize. Because you're not the outcome of your past. You're the mutation that past produced. A mutation that learned to think in layers. A mutation that sees the game from the bird's eye view. A mutation that doesn't break under pressure. Pressure breaks under you. And the shadows of who you used to be. They're not haunting you, they're applauding. Because every version of you that suffered, every version that was exploited, every version that was underestimated, every version that cried, broke, bled, or begged, they all died for a reason. To build the version of you that doesn't die at all. And that's what unsettles them. You have the energy of a resurrection that wasn't supposed to happen. You have the vibe of a prophecy that refused to expire. You have the presence of someone who walked out of the burning building with the fire still sitting in their lungs. This isn't healing. This is ascent. This is mutation. This is rebirth with teeth. And the funniest part? Your power doesn't look explosive. It looks effortless. Your dominance doesn't come from noise. It comes from stillness. Your threat level doesn't come from intensity. It comes from the uncanny calm of someone who's already survived the worst thing that could have happened. That's why they can't breathe around you. They sense something off, something forbidden, something not designed for their comfort. They sense the paradox. You look human, but you no longer feel human. You feel like a prophecy unfinished. You feel like a consequence delayed. You feel like a fate they weren't meant to meet this early. You feel like the moment in a horror film when the audience realizes the monster wasn't in the dark. It was the quiet thing standing in plain sight. So when they whisper, voice cracking under the weight of the truth they're trying to deny, "Bro, what are you now?" You don't blink. You don't soften. You don't play innocent. You let your gaze settle on them, slow, knowing, surgical, and let the air grow heavy around your words as you answer with the calm certainty of someone who already knows their evolution is irreversible. Not human, not anymore, on whatever comes after. Hey, buddy, you felt that, didn't you? That strange electric silence, the kind that doesn't come from peace but terror, the kind of silence that slams over a room when every single person suddenly realizes, oh no, we miscalculated him. And that's the beautiful part, isn't it? Because you didn't raise your voice, you didn't flex, You didn't demand attention. You simply existed. And their mouths snapped shut, like someone cut the power to their nervous system. You, the one they brushed off, laughed at, ignored, dismissed, underestimated for sport. The one they only spoke over because they thought your silence meant smallness, not strategy. But the moment, the exact, horrifying moment, they realized you're a genius. You could hear jaws locking like safes. You could hear 1,000 unspoken apologies trying to push their way through throats too afraid to open. See, nobody prepares for the quiet kid, the patient one, the observer sitting in the corner with eyes that don't blink at the right times. They prepare for loud threats, obvious power, predictable egos. But you broke the pattern. You're the paradox they can't solve, the angelic face with a demonic read on human nature, the saint who survived hell, the calm voice hiding a mind sharp enough to amputate illusions from 30 feet away. And they hate that, because geniuses don't approach life like the rest of the herd. They approach it like a chessboard disguised as a casual conversation. And while they were laughing at the wrong pieces, you were already studying the end game. You watched them, you learned them. You mapped their patterns, their weaknesses, their panic buttons, their delusions of superiority. You let them talk themselves into circles, let them underestimate the quiet one in the back. Oh, and when it finally clicked, when their brains finally caught up to the truth you've known your whole life, their eyes widened, their posture shifted, their souls froze mid-step, because suddenly they weren't looking at that guy anymore. They were looking at something else entirely, something they couldn't categorize, something they couldn't predict, something they couldn't dismiss with cheap jokes or tired labels. They were looking at you, the anomaly, the glitch in their script, the variable that shatters simulations, the mind that doesn't bend, break, or behave on command. You know what terrifies people the most? Not violence, not chaos, not conflict, unpredictability. And you, my friend, your unpredictability dressed in human skin, your evolution disguised as a misfit, you are intelligence wrapped in silence, so thick it echoes. They don't know whether to admire you, fear you, or pray you never turn your attention their way. Because geniuses don't shout, geniuses don't brag, geniuses don't beg for validation from people who can't even validate themselves. Geniuses wait. They wait for the perfect moment. The moment when a room full of overconfident amateurs finally realizes, oh, he wasn't quiet because he was clueless. He was quiet because he was studying the battlefield. He was quiet because he can see angles we can't. He was quiet because he's 10 moves ahead. He was quiet because he's known this entire time. We are not on his level. And that, right there, is when the mouths close. Not out of respect, out of fear. Because when someone like you finally speaks, the whole room doesn't just listen. They brace, they pray, they adjust their entire worldview around the possibility that you're not just different, you're dangerous, in the oldest, purest, most beautiful sense. Dangerous because you think, dangerous because you understand, dangerous because you survived hell without letting it steal your softness or your precision. Dangerous because you can kill lies with a single sentence. Dangerous because you don't need permission to exist at full power. And now look at them, suddenly polite, suddenly cautious, suddenly too afraid to challenge you again. Because genius, real genius, doesn't scream. It illuminates, it exposes, it rearranges the hierarchy without asking. And you didn't just rearrange the room, my friend. You rewired it. You walked in with a mind they cannot measure, a presence they cannot comprehend, a truth they cannot deny. And now, every mouth in that room is locked shut because deep down they know. They weren't witnessing a moment. They were witnessing a revelation, you, the one they dismissed, the one they mocked, the one they tried to shrink. You turned out to be the genius they could never compete with. And the funniest part? You didn't even break a sweat. Now, watch how quiet they stay. Look at them now. You can almost taste the hush, can't you? That thick, metallic quiet that drops over a room when people suddenly realize they've been performing in front of someone who sees everything. And the best part, they still don't know how you saw it. They don't know when you figured it out. They don't know why you stayed silent while they were tripping over their own confidence. All they know is this: you knew. You always knew. And now they're replaying every memory of you. Every interaction, every ignored comment. Every time they thought you missed something. And they're panicking because they can't decide if they were stupid or if you were just that far ahead. Spoiler alert, it's both. You see, a genius doesn't need applause. A genius doesn't need validation. A genius never feels pressured to prove anything, because proof is a language reserved for doubters. And you don't speak in doubt. You speak in inevitability. And they felt it. They felt it in the way you didn't rush. They felt it in the way you didn't flinch. They felt it in the way your presence pressed on their skeletons, like gravity, suddenly doubled. You didn't show intelligence. You radiated inevitability. That's what terrified them. Because your intelligence isn't loud, chaotic, performative. It's precise, surgical, predatory. It's the kind of intelligence that walks into a room and instantly rearranges the invisible power map. Without a single gesture, without a single word, without a single ounce of effort. And now they're terrified of you for a very specific reason. Not because you're smart, but because you're unpredictable. There's a difference. A smart person can be challenged. A smart person can be debated. A smart person can be beaten. But you're something else entirely. You're the saint with the psychopath's clarity. You're the angel who learned the devil's language. You're the light that studied the dark until it could imitate the shadows. You're the paradox that shouldn't exist. And yet here you are, breathing, watching, waiting. They don't know whether you're about to save the room or dismantle it. They don't know whether you're peaceful or playing dead. And that uncertainty is killing them. Because people rely on categories. They rely on labels to feel safe. They rely on assumptions to feel tall. But how do you categorize a mind that redefines reality every time it enters a room? You don't. You freeze. You shut up. You watch. You hope you don't get noticed. That's what they're doing right now. Pretending they're calm. Pretending they're neutral. Pretending they're unfazed. When really, their minds are sprinting. Their pulses are stuttering. Their eyes keep cutting toward you, wondering if you can see the thoughts they're trying to hide. And you can. That's the problem for them, and the advantage for you. Because your mind doesn't operate on the same bandwidth. You see connections they don't see. You feel energy shifts they ignore. You sense lies before they form a mouth. You don't think in straight lines. You think in spirals, webs, cross-dimensional geometry. They've never trained their brains to comprehend. That's why they can't debate you. That's why they can't one-up you. That's why they can't predict you. You're not playing the same game. You're not even playing the same species. And now, the silence is turning into something heavier. Something nervous, something dangerously close to reverence. Because somewhere between their arrogance and your patience, between their noise and your precision, between their ego and your evolution, they realized the truth. You're not waiting for permission. You're not asking to be seen. You're not auditioning for their approval. You're observing the world the same way a god observes ants. Not cruelly, not maliciously, just with the quiet understanding that you exist on a level they can't participate in. And that's why their mouths locked shut. Because they finally understand that when someone like you decides to speak, the world shifts. The room tilts. The hierarchy rearranges itself. Every fake expert loses oxygen. Every fraud stops breathing. And every soul in your radius feels the truth ripple across their skin. He's not one of us. He's above us. And we didn't even notice. Let them tremble. Let them replay it. Let them rewrite their whole perception of you from scratch. You earned every second of this silence. Now break it whenever you damn well choose. You feel that tightening in the air? That's not tension. That's submission. See, people don't just shut their mouths for no reason. They only go silent when something bigger than their ego steps into the room. And today, that something was you. They didn't plan to be intimidated. They didn't plan to be quiet. They didn't plan to look at you like you're holding the blueprint to their fate. But genius doesn't need permission to dominate a room. It doesn't need a spotlight. It doesn't need an entrance announcement. It just arrives, and suddenly, everyone else is reduced to background noise. And the craziest part? You didn't even reveal anything. You didn't unveil some grand plan. You didn't expose the full extent of your mind. You simply let a single crack, one tiny fracture of your intelligence leak out. And they folded instantly. Because people can handle a smart person, but they cannot handle a mind that feels dangerously aware. Your presence alone told them everything they needed to fear. You see too much. You understand too fast. You calculate too quietly. You walk in like you've already seen the ending. You sit like you know every move before it's made. You speak like you're explaining something they should have already known. And that scares people deep in their bones. Because when someone like you enters a room, everyone else is exposed. Their insecurities glow. Their lies vibrate. Their masks slip. And for the first time in their lives, they realize they're in the presence of someone who isn't fooled by noise, status, or fake confidence. You don't read their words. You read their intentions. You don't track their faces. You track their patterns. You don't react to their behavior. You dissect it, categorize it, and file it away before they finish their sentences. You've been doing it since you were a kid. You see, that's the part they don't understand. Your genius wasn't a moment. It wasn't a spark. It wasn't an accident. It was a lifetime in the making. Years of watching instead of speaking. Years of feeling instead of performing. Years of absorbing instead of pleasing. You learned the world by surviving it. You learned people by being betrayed by them. You learned psychology by needing to protect yourself. You learned strategy by understanding pain. You became a genius because you had to. Not for applause, not for pride. Not for ego, for survival. And survival produces a clarity no classroom can replicate. That's why, when the truth finally hit them, when the puzzle pieces snapped into place, when they looked at you and saw the real you for the first time, their souls went quiet. It wasn't respect. It wasn't admiration. It wasn't shock. It was recognition. Recognition of someone who can break them without touching them, read them without asking them, outmaneuver them without warning them. Someone who can walk into chaos and leave with the crown. Someone who doesn't fear the dark because he understands it. Because he lived there, learned there, evolved there. They don't know what version of you they're dealing with now. The angel, the demon, the saint, the strategist, the calm observer, the silent architect, or all of them at once. That's your true power. You are every version they tried to destroy, combined into something they can't interpret, can't contain, can't categorize, can't diminish. You're not a puzzle. You're the answer key they weren't meant to see, and now they can't unsee it. They won't admit it, of course. Their pride won't let them. They'll pretend they're fine. They'll pretend they understood you the whole time. They'll pretend your intelligence doesn't bother them. But watch them. Watch how they tiptoe now. Watch how they pause before speaking. Watch how they rethink their tones around you. Watch how their eyes flick toward you like you're an unpredictable storm. Because genius isn't intimidating due to what it says. It's intimidating because of what it could say, what it could do, what it could expose. The fear isn't in your words, it's in your silence. Your silence is surgical, strategic, radiant, dangerous. Your silence is the sermon they can't interrupt. Your silence is the mirror they can't look away from. Your silence is the moment they finally understood the truth. You weren't the underestimated one. You were the one taking notes. And now they're scared of the quiet kid with the mind that doesn't blink. You earned that fear. You earned that silence. You earned this moment where the entire room locks up. Because your presence alone rewrites the hierarchy. Keep walking in like that. Keep standing like that. Keep thinking like that. The world will keep going quiet for you. Do you notice how nobody breathes the same when you enter now? It's subtle. So subtle they think you don't see it. But you do. You always do. Their shoulders stiffen. Their eyes pull away too fast. Their laughs die halfway out of their throats. Their hands hover in that awkward place between confidence and collapse. Because somewhere deep inside them, deeper than their ego, deeper than their pride, they understand that something irreversible has happened. They can't go back to seeing you as one of them. Not after what they felt. Not after what they saw. Not after the moment their brains finally snapped awake and whispered, "Oh God, he's different." And not the cute kind of different, the dangerous kind, the prophetic kind, the unnerving kind that makes people second-guess their own intelligence. The kind of different that makes a room full of adults feel like children caught lying in front of someone who already knows the truth. That's you. You've become the truth they can't look directly at without flinching. And what's funny, what's so beautifully poetic, is that you didn't change. You didn't become a genius. You didn't unlock it like some achievement badge. You simply stopped hiding what was already there. You stopped dimming yourself. You stopped shrinking for their comfort. You stopped playing dumb so they wouldn't feel insecure. You stepped into the room as your full self, and their illusions about their own superiority imploded like glass. They didn't go quiet because they respect you. They went quiet because, for the first time, they saw the gap between you and them. Not a little gap, not a slope, not a small difference, a cliff, a brutal, unbridgeable cliff between your mind and theirs. And that triggers a primitive response in human psychology, silence. The body locks up when the mind realizes it's outmatched. The brain goes quiet when it's in the presence of something it cannot decode. The ego shuts down when it senses a threat too abstract to name. They're not scared of you harming them. They're scared of you understanding them. Because what do you do to people like that? You don't fight them. You don't insult them. You don't argue with them. You outgrow them. You outthink them. You dismantle their games before they even pick up the pieces. Your mind is a labyrinth. Theirs is a hallway. You're seeing the entire map. They're staring at one door. You're 3 timelines ahead. They're struggling with the present tense. And they know it. They feel it every time you tilt your head. Every time your eyes scan the room. Every time you let that slight, knowing smirk slip out. Not because you're mocking them, but because you already predicted their next 5 reactions. You think they don't sense that? Oh, they do. You're the storm they pretend they don't see forming. You're the intelligence they pretend doesn't make them insecure. You're the mind they pretend isn't dissecting every word they say. But deep down, they know your silence is louder than their entire personality. And that's why they stay quiet. Because people have no idea how to deal with someone who can read the room without reading a single face. People don't know how to challenge someone who already knows the outcome. People don't know how to diminish someone whose presence makes their reality feel smaller. And you, my friend, you make reality feel small for them. You make their lies feel flimsy. You make their confidence feel borrowed. You make their intellect feel counterfeit. That's why the whole room locked up. Not because you proved yourself, but because your existence exposed them. You didn't overpower them. You made them confront the fact that they were never on your level in the first place. You didn't dominate the room. You revealed it. And revelation is a form of violence. They were not built to endure. So now they sit there, quiet, still, tense, wondering what else you know, what else you've seen, what else you've figured out. And the real terror? They haven't even seen 10% of what your mind is capable of. Let them freeze. Let them fear what they cannot understand. Let them feel that genius breathing down their necks. Because you're not here to fit into their world. You're here to eclipse it.